Good afternoon. Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm close. There we are. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to first acknowledge Allied Media as this month's meeting sponsor and thank Rotarian Phil Marissy for his sponsorship. Thanks, Phil. Before we get started, let's do a quick check-in if we can. I think we'll get our QR code. There it is. I'll give you a quicker chance to check in today as we do Rotary Foundation Day, which is great. So check in and show your support. I don't know if you saw, but there were a lot of great check-in photos in the beginning slides for the meeting. People did some great check-in pictures last week, so thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask Carol Subcheck, who was recently appointed as a new member of our foundation trustees, to please come to the podium to lead us in a reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good afternoon, President Hinshaw and fellow Rotarians. Today, on Foundation Day, let us reflect on the Rotary ideal of service above self. May our individual and collective endeavors be blessed with unwavering dedication and commitment. May we never tire in our pursuit of a better community and a better world. And may our efforts leave a lasting legacy of hope and compassion for future generations. Shalom, namaste, amen. Please join me in our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
All right, at this time, just want to ask if anyone has any guests today that they'd like to introduce. Dominic's in the center of the room, and you can bring your guest up and please introduce them.
Good afternoon. Okay. Oh, we're not ready.
Sorry, what did I say, Dominic? I'm sorry. Zach.
Good afternoon,
sorry, Zach.
Rotarians. No?
Go ahead, Rachel.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to have Carrie Cipriani with me here. She's the operations manager over at Adventist Climbing.
Great. Thank you for joining us.
President Scott, I have with me the director of the Toledo Design Collective, Ryan Bunch, and Mitchell McKenzie, who is an attendance champion for TPS.
Great. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you.
Good afternoon, President, fellow Rotarians and guests. I have with me the Executive Director of the JOSH Project, which teaches swimming to youth ages 5 through 7, and also an Army veteran the day before Veterans Day.
Excellent. Thanks, Kim.
Oh, Larry Butts. Sorry, I forgot his name. Larry.
Welcome, Larry.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. President Hinshaw, I have with me a friend, Joe Cordella, who is the president of Historical South Initiative, so welcome him.
Great. Thanks, Shane. Welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining us. Great. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. Just a couple of items I wanted to note as we get started today with the meeting. I did want to let everybody know that Helen Balanis, who is a past president and a past district governor, is currently in hospice care. So please keep her in your thoughts and your prayers. I know that she would appreciate hearing about that, which I think past President Tim Ryan will probably let her know that the club's thinking about her. Also, last Monday evening, the annual 20 Under 40 Awards took place at the Valentine Theater. There were two of our own Rotarians who were recognized that evening with the coveted recognition. Both Mike Miller, who I know I just saw a second ago. Mike, stand up. Where are you? I know Mike's. There he is, Mike Miller. As well as Chad Rokowski. Chad, are you here today? Is Chad here? I don't think so. Okay, but both those guys. Congratulations on your recognition, guys. We appreciate it. Mike's also the current vice chair of the International Services Committee, so thanks, Mike, for all your support in the club. All right, let's get today's program. Past president and current chair of the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation, Dick Wolf, is going to kick us off with Foundation Day. Please.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to actually start Foundation Day in heaven, where there's a lawyer and a doctor and a Rotary Foundation fundraiser lined up at the pearly gates. St. Peter comes out and he says, we have a tradition here. Each person gets one wish before they go into heaven. And so the doctor steps up and said, I'd like $2 million. St. Peter kind of shrugs and says, okay, here you go, come on in. The lawyer, not to be outdone, because we aren't usually outdone, said, I'd like $3 million. So St. Peter rolls his eyes and gives him the $3 million, and the lawyer walks in. So he asked the Rotary Foundation fundraiser, what do you want? And he kind of slides up and says, can I just get the names of those two guys who went in before me? Thank you. So that's part of what we're here for today, but we'll see if we can get these slides to go. Today's mission, we're going to learn about the foundation. We're going to celebrate our accomplishments, hear from grant recipients, and try to get a commitment to support. That would help. Okay. Whoops. I first would like to also recognize our current trustees for this year. Beside myself, if you're here, please stand. Dean Neese, Vice Chair; Jim Lehman, Secretary Treasurer; Jim Barron, Steve Boyce, Alex Dew, Mike McIntyre, Carol Sobzak, and Joe Tefelsky. Applause for these people, please. A lot of people don't realize some of the charitable history of this organization, but our club and certain Rotarians from our club have been instrumental in the founding of the Easter Seals program, Glendale Fieldbach School, the Ability Center, the Sight Center of Northwest Ohio, and Partners in Education. So we have quite a charitable history as it is. One question always comes up, I'm not sure what foundation I'm dealing with. There are two distinct foundations that I'm sure most of you are aware of. The Toledo Rotary Club Foundation, our foundation, was formally established in 2000. There's also the Rotary Foundation, which is part of Rotary International. It was established in 1917. I imagine that most of you, if not all of you, have been getting emails from the district about donating to the foundation. They're referring to the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. It's a great foundation. It does great work all around the world. If you know Polio Plus, that's one of their big things. They do all kinds of fantastic things around the world. And if you've seen people get a Paul Harris Fellow or give a Paul Harris Fellow, that's for a $1,000 donation to the Rotary Foundation. But right now, today, we're concentrating on the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation. That's going to be our main focus. I do encourage you to support the Rotary International Foundation, but I encourage you even more to support our Toledo Rotary Club Foundation. So what is the foundation? It was set up as a 501c3 organization in order to allow donors to make tax-deductible contributions. The Toledo Rotary Club is a 501c4 organization, a service club, and it is the sole member of the Toledo Rotary Foundation. The foundation, through the club committees, funds all grants to local charities to address needs in our community. And it is administered by the Greater Toledo Community Foundation. We use their expertise. The middle note there is key, because that's what's important about our Toledo Rotary Foundation. We support local charities. We are local in our scope. And we do normally support a couple international charities or international projects. They're typically somehow connected to what we've done in the past or other Rotary clubs or something we have a special affinity for. Since the formal inception of our Toledo Rotary Foundation, we have made grants approximating $3 million. And just since, you can clap. Just since 2012, which was our club's 100th anniversary, we've made $2 million in grants. So $2 million of that $3 million was just in the last 13 years. How are the grants selected? The club and Greater Toledo Community Foundation solicit applications, do preliminary vetting, and distribute it to our Rotary Club committees. The committees do site visits and additional vetting. Twice per year, the Foundation Advisory Committee meets with committee reps to prioritize funding. And that Foundation Advisory Committee consists of committee chairs, reps from the club board and the foundation trustees, and at-large members of the club. And anybody's invited to attend those meetings. The Foundation Advisory Committee makes recommendations to the club board makes recommendations to the foundation trustees, and the trustees approve the final grants and instruct GTCF to disperse payments. It is a very involved process, serious vetting done. The committees involved in the grant-making process are community services, disability services, environmental services, international services, vocational and youth services. I can't encourage you enough to get involved with one of these committees. It's where the true heart of Rotary is, and I can personally say that it was in my involvement with community services probably 15 years ago that really stirred my heart and my desire to be a very active participant in Rotary. It's a great way to get to know your fellow Rotarians and a great way to know about the needs of our community. So here's a list of last year's grant recipients. And it's quite an impressive list and quite a diverse list. And you can just see, I'm sure you know a lot of those organizations that are there, but there are probably some you haven't heard of. And some are very dependent on grants, the size of grants that we can give. As of now, the maximum grant to any one recipient is $10,000. The trustees are seriously thinking about upping that maximum amount, and a lot of that will have to do with how we do in our annual campaign, because the more money, as Jim Lehman is about to explain, the more we can give, and perhaps we can increase the larger amount to give to some of the local charities. So I am now going to have Jim come up. Jim, again, is Secretary Chairman. He's going to talk about some of the financial aspects here.
Thank you, Dick. Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to be the tallest presenter with the shortest remarks. In front of you is a worksheet that we use every quarter to kind of recap the total of money that's in our endowments. This is a sum of 3 separate accounts. We have a traditional endowment, a separate endowment for transformational projects. It's not really an endowment, it's a fund, and a separate fund for our partners in education, which we set up. But the 2 important numbers you see here at the bottom of the first column, we have a little bit over $6 million combined between those 3 accounts. Majority of it is in the traditional account. And for the first quarter of our fiscal year, which goes from July 1st to June 30th, we've earned 6.6%. So last year's total return, I think, was about 13.7% overall. This slide gives you the totals. You can see the primary fund is the vast majority of it. Transformational Fund has received a couple of big slugs of money from our golf outing for the past 2 years. We're hoping to bring that up to somewhere around $300,000 to $350,000 or more to really support a significant project to do something transformational in our community. The process for determining how much money we're going to give out each year is fairly simple. We take the 5% of the past 12 quarters balances in the primary account, and we add to that the average of the past 3 annual campaigns, subtract their administrative expenses, and we end up with, this year, $246,000. So you can see the majority of the money that we're giving away is coming from the endowment. But the annual campaign is just as important because that's an average. We happen to have an average of $75,000 for the last 3 years. Kind of fell off this year a little bit because we had a record year 4 years ago, and that year fell out of the average. So our total amount, I believe the last fiscal year was about $253,000, so we're down a little bit, but we're hoping that we can motivate everybody to bring our annual campaign in at a great number this year and give us more money to put into the community next year. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Mullen, and we're going to have a little panel discussion.
I'm not going to stand back to back with Dick, but that might make me the shortest presenter with the tallest presentation. So thank you very much, fellow Rotarians. This is an exciting day because we do incredible work as a club, and it's an opportunity for us to meet some of the folks that we've invested in, to hear updates on the projects, and be able to really envision what the future of this community can look like when we truly go all in on the Toledo Rotary Foundation. I've got 3 panelists that are joining me today. I'm going to invite them to the stage. Janelle Metzger with Water for Ishmael, Tim Teggy with the Site Center, and Sandra Irvine with Lot Industries Inspiration Kitchen. Please come forward. All right, well, first of all, thank you very much for making the time to be here. Why don't we just real quick kind of run down, Tim, we'll start with you and make our way all the way down to Sandra. Introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your organization.
Yes, I'm Tim Teggy, Executive Director for the Site Center of Northwest Ohio. We were founded 102 years ago as the Toledo Society for the Blind, and our mission is to empower independence and enrich the lives of people who are blind or visually impaired. We do that throughout Northwest Ohio, 18 counties. And we're headquartered here in Toledo.
Janelle?
Good afternoon. I'm Janelle Metzger with Water for Ishmael. We partner with the local church to build a welcoming community for Toledo area internationals, to share the hope and love of Jesus Christ and to empower internationals with skills to become successful. We welcome people from all over the world, mostly people who have come from trauma and are trying to find safety and rebuild their lives. And we give them the tools that they need, like English and job skills, in order to be able to get on their feet and be self-sufficient.
Hi, I'm Sandra Irvine, the Executive Director of the Inspiration Kitchen at Lot Industries. We are a 7-year-old program. We are a workforce development program for people with moderate to severe barriers. Our clients, our students, are individuals coming out of former incarceration, trauma, abuse, recovery, and legacy of generational poverty. We are culinary based. We teach intensive French culinary, and the transferable skill sets apply to anywhere in the industry for the workforce. We follow our students for 9 months afterward to prevent recidivism for a 71% sustained employment rate after 9 months.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so similar question, Sandra, we'll start with you and work our way back down this way so Tim gets the most time to prepare for his answer. Sandra, how is your organization or your mission relevant to Toledo Rotarians, to the broader community? Why should somebody care?
Well, Rotary has such an incredible legacy of support of the community for others to become better. Our program reaches out to those that are largely forgotten or lost. We are a life launch program, and I think that speaks very well to what Rotary does. It's about launching lives to those that need a hand up that might be forgotten. We deal in a lot of levels for employment. We deal heavily in future education. We're a launchpad program, and I think Rotary does a lot of that. There's a lot of launchpad initiatives that you all have.
Thank you.
I'm a little overwhelmed at the thought of all the good things that Rotary has done, not only for us, but also on behalf of the community. I think the way we run is similar to the way most nonprofits run. For example, this morning I spent a lot of time putting donated food on shelves. We're not a pantry, but for the first time ever, we're trying to support over 60 families with food insecurity, and we're doing it on a zero budget. And that's just how nonprofits operate most of the time. Were it not for the grants that we received from the Rotary, we would not have been able to do those extra projects that were really important. So, and the last one, the most recent one, was for safety for our clients. Door barricades in case of an active shooter. I don't know if you all heard, but there was an active shooter warning shut down on BG campus just this morning. We had 2 of our staff members had daughters that were on campus at the time. It's terrifying, but it's also reassuring to know that we have tools now that we can protect our people from those things.
Thank you. Tim?
I would say, in addition to the obvious connection to the disability priority being one of the topics, we might be the organization that has milked our 100th anniversary longer than most. We celebrated our 100th anniversary 2 years ago, and it's been, and for me, as my first year as executive director, my first anniversary was our 100th anniversary. So there's something that tied me into our history, and the Toledo Rotary is a big part of our history and our founding. We kicked off Blindness Awareness Month last month with a historical marker that is not only a historical marker, but the first with Braille and audio elements included. And the Toledo Rotary is one of the organizations listed in the cast aluminum historical marker. And there's not many organizations there, but that's one of the connections that goes way back. And you know, I think that continues, that relationship has continued, that support has continued through the years. And for me, I realized at that ceremony that if it took if there was profit in the field of blindness and low vision, it wouldn't take a nonprofit to do it for 102 years. There would be parts of it that would have just, you know, become for-profit elements. And so I think the support from the community, and especially the support from the Rotary, has helped us last for 102 years and beyond.
Thank you. Janelle, you touched on a little bit of what kind of your most recent project. Sandra and Tim, I'm going to give you a chance as well. Sandra, why don't we start with you? What was the most recent project that Rotary had funded, and how are you seeing that make a difference with your organization?
Rotary supported, actually they supported equipment in the kitchen and to the farm. Very important for us. We started out in very, very small kitchens. Again, remember that we are teaching training that is transferable skills to everything through the kitchen. We had 12 individuals learning how to do intensive French culinary, 19 classes, 115 hours, very intensive, on a 6-burner stove. So we do want to teach teamwork, but it was a little overstated in that case. When people walk in and see the range, it's a 10-burner range. It's a real racehorse, and it's the first thing people notice. And we always tell people how grateful we are that Rotary could provide this. This is a real launch pad for the kitchen, for the program, the equipment. You know, we have a lot of intellectual and curriculum needs that we use, very important. But we all know who have businesses, you can't do it without the equipment. And it was an expensive item that it's a luxury item to us that without Rotary would not have had. And I invite everyone to come and take a look at what you have donated, and I think you'd be very happy at your investment.
I was there at the last Service Above Self Day and got a chance to tour the space and see it, and
it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible what you're doing, and really, I mean, kudos to Lot Industries for the creativity of really maximizing every corner of their space. And so I think that's, you know, part of the thing that, for me as a donor, for me as somebody who had the privilege of leading this club, to see those kind of play out just reinforces how safe your investment in the Rotary Foundation is. And so when the committees vet a grant, do the site visits and make a determination, you can trust that you get projects like this that are wise investments.
You brought up about Lot Industries, if I could just make mention of that. This was a very, very large, unused kitchen, 7 acres in the back, 4 of it farmable, that Tim Menke has brought back to life. And I remember when I walked through the door, because the program is 7 years old, but we have moved it to Lot Industries because of their ability to really invest the effort to allow us to make the program grow. And you know, here was this unused space that could have been left unused because it was a bit of trouble for them as well. And he said, let me get the keys. I would love to have more space utilized. And then there's 3 acres in the back that's now farmed that produced 2,500 pounds of incredible food for pantries for us. It's urban farming. It's a culinary program that creates transferable skills. They can go anywhere to work manufacturing. We've placed individuals coming in with depression and very, very poor on SNAP, hardly making it. And because we created as a launch pad program just through culinary, I have had students come up to me and say, I know what I want to do now. I want to be a paralegal. And we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen where they want to be. We're just a vehicle. We're a catalyst.
Awesome. Thank you. Tim, tell us about the most recent project that Rotary has funded with the Site Center.
Yeah, it relates to assistive technology and some of the devices that are in the field of digital magnification. I want to go back to early in my career when I was first exposed to some software that would magnify the computer screen and convert print to speech, and how much that's meant to me over the years in my profession and staying productive at work, competitive, and advancing in my career, having the tools needed. And although the technology's changed over the years, that need for devices that we can demonstrate, that we can show people as we're working with them. And it's not always employment related. Sometimes it's just quality of life. Helping somebody that wants to, read their mail and manage their medications and take care of their own finances and not have somebody else doing that. Increasingly, there's traditional magnification and traditional low vision devices, but assistive technology is playing more and more of an important role. And having digital magnifiers, having portable magnifiers that can having greater features like converting print to speech, where it used to be computer software. Some of those devices now in handhelds can do that as well, and designing them in a way that are simple to use for somebody who's just losing their vision. That's really important to help them learn the world of low vision without all the complexity of some other devices. But the grant has helped us to keep kind of the more recent types of devices so that we can demonstrate them, and then if those are appropriate for a client that we're working with, then we work with other funding sources to try and get them that device. But it keeps our inventory and our demonstration items up to date so that we can show them what's possible in helping them transform their lives.
Excellent. Sitting in on the FAC meetings and even on the committee meetings vetting grants, I personally get excited about projects that, I think, where else would they get this funding if not for Rotary, right? The projects that come forward, they're like, all right, everybody's gonna give them money. I don't get as excited about, but the ones that are like, okay, if we don't step up, who will? Talk to me about the other funding opportunities for, these projects and how necessary Rotary support was or wasn't on these projects. Sandra, do you want to start?
Well, we all know about competition, and particularly now there is quite a bit of competition out there. Rotary was willing to take time out. Curtis Church, kicked it off. Why are you laughing?
Only his mother calls him Curtis. So.
Right.
And that's never a good
Kurt.
start. Yeah.
And he came out and he's known about the program. He's spoken to our class. We bring in, if I can just sidebar for a second, we bring in 4 guest speakers over our 10-week, 19-class period. And they're most all are wildly successful who came from nothing. So we're bringing people in from the community to show them this is what you can be, this is where you can go. How Rotary has factored in for us is we're a smaller program. We're a member of a national organization called Catalyst Kitchens. There's 110 others like ours. Many of them are 3, 4, 5, even $6 million operations. And we do the same amount of work and create the same amount of individuals to graduate from our program and follow them. But when you're smaller, in a smaller town, we have fellow programs in Cleveland that have 225 high-end restaurants knocking at their door just in the culinary arena alone. We don't have that here. So we have to be very frugal, very intentional in what we do. And Rotary was willing to listen. And every time I come to a Rotary meeting and walk around, people are great listeners here and are willing to share what they're doing, but they're very interested in what we're doing. So I think that kind of interface with Rotary, taking that kind of a strong interest gives great confidence and financial investment to help us get to where we need to be.
Thank you. Janelle?
I think the fact that Rotary has an international services committee helps to make us a really good fit. We're kind of a niche organization. Most other nonprofits that are serving refugees or others have some kind of consistent funding base, and kind of what Water for Ishmael has focused on is filling in the gaps that aren't covered by other funding, because why not just do something hard? But the fact that Rotary has a special interest in the world globally, but also the world that's at our doorstep, and a genuine care for people who have come here and are trying to rebuild their lives makes it a really good fit for us. And there's just not a lot of places around that kind of have that match.
Yeah, for the Site Center, it's blindness and low vision rehab is an interesting field because there's insurance covers virtually none of what we do other than like the eye exam portion of our low vision clinic. It evolved in a different way than our medical system, so there's just not the reimbursables, you know, that other fields might experience. If you have a stroke and you lose your ability to walk, you might get a walker and occupational therapy, physical therapy to rebuild those skills. If that same stroke took your vision, you wouldn't get a white cane or any orientation and mobility training through insurance and that system. So we've had to develop agencies like ours across the country, different models. And there are funders who, like there is a state program that might help older adults get some training, get some low vision assistance, daily living adaptations. They might get a device and learn, and we would help teach them how to use it. There might be other sources for work related. Like for me, when I was getting assistance over the years to help me stay current in employment. But nobody helps provide the devices that we can show those people in the first place. And so we have to, this whole portfolio of cobbling together, here's some funding for the actual services we're providing, here's some support for the devices that people are getting, but the Rotary really helps make it possible for us to have the devices to show in the first place and to figure out what's going to work best for mom who's losing her vision, or for junior who is trying to get employment or stay employed with the vision impairment.
Excellent. We're not going to bury the lead here, right? So the purpose of Foundation Day is to inspire you to give. They'll talk about the goals, but every year the goal is 100% participation. And the only way we get there is if you give. Don't worry about the person next to you. You make a gift. What would you say to the folks in the room that are considering renewing their gift, upgrading their gift, or possibly for newer Rotarians making their first gift to the Rotary Foundation? Oh, Sandra's on it.
Well, I look at Rotary as strengthening communities and enriching lives. It's largely business-based. So by giving to those like ourselves, we're workforce based and ability based, and you are too workforce based to put people back in the community. That's exactly who Rotary is. So it speaks to Rotary to strengthen the community and to strengthen lives for us for workplace. Who doesn't want to have more people entering the workplace with competence? Everybody needs workers, and a lot of our programs allow people to do that, and that's who Rotary is. So it really speaks to your generous dollar to help make that happen.
Thank you.
My husband tells me the stock market's been great this year, so I'm guessing your portfolios are looking really good and you need a tax deduction. But I will also tell you that as I look around our community, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a need like I've never seen before, and we've been in the business for over 20 years now. We are living at overwhelmed every week with changes that are coming, so many people losing funding for the good work that they are doing. Our community needs us to take all those lovely extra stocks that you have earned and to donate them to really good causes that make our community a better place.
Awesome. Thank you.
When you asked the question, I got a ornery smile on my face because I used to work for an organization that did workplace giving campaigns, and there was a phrase that, I upped my gift, now up yours. And so, so when you said, what would you say to people, that came to mind. But
up yours wasn't exactly the message I was looking for there, Tim.
So
but
edit that out.
Yeah, that's great.
But I do think that my recommendation in this world of TikTok and where something can just come out of nowhere and consume all the oxygen in the room and then be gone tomorrow. I think it's really, really important not to not support things like that, but to give to the Rotary Foundation that has a process, that has priorities, that has committee members looking at community need. And I think that's really valuable to have not only the giving, but the process that supports the giving and puts it to best use in the community.
Awesome. I appreciate all of your time today. Thank you. I know that it is a unique opportunity for you to also get in front of the donors to be able to say thank you. So before we go, I'll give you guys just a quick opportunity to say thank you to the folks that have supported the grants that supported your work. Tim?
Yeah, I want to thank you very much. It was the support from day one in 1923 and in the years that I've been involved with the Site Center, the grants that have helped us provide camp counselors, assistive technology, low vision kits. It's been invaluable, and thank you very much for the opportunity again today.
I just want you to know that for hundreds of people who have fled their homeland for safety and are trying to rebuild their lives, you are helping to create a space that when they walk in our building, they call the people who work there family, and they call the building home. And you, through your gifts, are creating that safe space of peace that allows people to take a breath and to start over. So thank you.
I want to invite everyone to come out to the Inspiration Kitchen anytime, to sit even for 10 minutes to watch a class or come into the kitchen, and you'll see exactly where your hard-earned dollars have gone. We're very frugal. Tim Menke will share that with you. We pinch pennies, so every penny that you give us, nothing is squandered or put on a luxury item. But sometimes you just need to see something in action to really appreciate it. And when people come, they look and say, we had no idea that this type of thing was going on to touch lives. And our students, who are all adults, they are eventually very moved by the program. I've had students just this past week from 2 years ago text me and say, hi Chef, how are you? I've got a new job, or I have a new car, or I didn't realize it at the time, but it was a great experience. So when you see that coming from a while ago, something good happened, and Rotary made that happen. Thank you.
Awesome. How about a big round of applause for Sandra, Janelle, and Tim. Thank you.
God bless.
to you.
Now I would like to introduce our annual campaign chair, past president of this club, past district governor, raconteur, world traveler, and all-around neat guy, my friend Tim Ryan.
Thank you, Dick. I'll have a few words to say about you in a minute. I've just changed my presentation, having heard these three speakers today and all the stuff that we do. That means I got to think about this a little bit. So how am I going to present it to these guys? And I think I'll start this way. I've been involved in Rotary for a lot of years, about 25 or so, whatever, a long time. And I've always been impressed with what Rotary can do when it decides to engage. So I was at the table today talking to my friends and some of my Rotary experiences. And I was inspired by the conversation this afternoon. And it reminded me of this club partnering with another organization, Gift of Life. I think it was in El Salvador. It was at the Benjamin Bloom Hospital. And Rotarians that went to do the survey, to meet with the recipients of, who would become the recipients of the money, Sharon Skilleter, who many people know. Dean Neese was there. There may have been others. If I've forgotten, please forgive me. And the conversation is how important is the Toledo Rotary Foundation. And what we did those years ago is we bought 42 oxygenators, which is a necessary component to do open heart surgery and heart transplants on babies, and I mean babies, in the third world. No kid got one of those oxygenators unless there was a very good chance that the child would survive and that there were no underlying conditions that would keep that kid from growing to adulthood. Pretty tough, very tough. I'm glad I don't have to. I think, Tom, you were the president that year. These are tough decisions, and we made them. We paid for 42, because that's how much money we had. 41 of those children lived, and 41 of those children, there is no reason to think that they won't dance at their own weddings and that they won't have children of their own. That's what our foundation does. And we do it over and over again, and we've been doing it, whether we were formed in 2007 or whatever, we've been doing it for 100 years since we founded Easter Seals. That's why I'm a Rotarian. Take all that aside, move it over, now I'm going to go to what I was really going to talk about. Dick Wolf, you said one of the smartest things I ever heard, along with me being smart and all that. About 4 months ago, when you received your Paul Harris Fellow, and it went something like this. I can't speak as well as Dick. But as he was receiving his Paul Harris Fellow, he says, you know, I do this in an intentional way. I do my giving with intent. My first priority is my church, because that's my value system. Makes sense to me. My second priority is the Toledo Rotary Foundation, because I know where the money goes. And a lot of it is spent right here, and I can see where it's spent. And my third priority is the Rotary International Foundation, because I know they do good work. You heard him say that earlier today. He said it very clearly. But what I liked about it the best, it's intentional giving based upon your own personal value system. We should all be like Dick. I'm going to do my best, Dick. That's all the good stuff I'm going to say about you today. Everybody in this room, how many people have either been or have family members have been in the Toledo community for 10 years? Raise your hand. I think that's pretty much everybody, except for Carol. We've adopted Carol. It's not her fault. So the vast majority of us have been in the Toledo community for more than 10 years. My family, you guys probably don't know it, my great-grandfather was kicked by a horse in a stable that is currently occupied by the Commodore Perry Hotel. So you all know that's a long time ago. So where am I going with this? Okay, so young man, kids, widow, what do you do? And family lore is that the community 150 years ago came forward and helped out my family. You can imagine, they didn't have the kinds of services then. That makes me feel pretty good. Makes me feel good that I've got a relationship and a history with Toledo in a community that helps its neighbors when things are tough. And that's what the Toledo Rotary Foundation does. I'm a member of this, whether you guys like it or not, I'm a member of the Toledo community. All of you are too. I feel an obligation to give back to a community that helped me and my parents with education and all of the things that a community has to do to make the community work. And that's what the Toledo Rotary Foundation has a long history of doing. That is a big part of the reason why I am a Rotarian, and it's a bigger part of the reason why I'm a Toledo Rotarian. I like the foundation because I see and have had the privilege of seeing how many things and how much it can do. But there's two other things that we didn't talk about today, or I guess we talked about it. One is the issue of transparency. We come to these meetings every Monday and we talk about Rotary stuff and our families and all the stuff that we talk about, and we have a good time. And we talk about our projects. In terms of transparency, you saw that everybody is invited to the process, that you can look into the process. You can and have been invited to go and see where your money is being spent. If you have questions about it, just raise a question at the table, and there will be people there that have information. I don't know how you get more transparent than that. The other reason I think we should be supporting this foundation is the notion of engagement. You saw the list of committees that we have. We have more than that, actually. But if you have something that you want to support, you personally care about, all you have to do is join a committee, the appropriate committee, raise the issue with your fellow committee members. If you can craft what's the word I want there? If you got the right story and you can show the right need, and your idea will meet the requirements of competition, because there are other people there with other ideas, you can influence what our giving looks like. So if you combine the transparency and the ability to be in control and the fact that we should all be supporting our community, I don't know how you can possibly do better than the Toledo Community Foundation. I'm going to close right now and say that what you have done in the past, those 41 kids that still bring a tear, the idea of intentional engagement in your giving, I want to say I'm very proud to be here, and I'm very proud to be part of this organization. Thank you.
Okay, as we wrap up, how you can give. There is a QR code at each of your tables standing up. There's a giving envelope at each table. You can go to the Toledo Rotary website, toledorotary.org. You can go to the Greater Toledo Community Foundation website, toledocf.org. You can simply, if you write checks anymore, like a few of us older people do, you can mail them into the GTCF office. And your participation, we do have a couple recognized levels of giving. The President's Club is $300. That's $300 throughout the Rotary years. So you could do $25 a month and make that. We have a 1912 fellowship, $1,000 in 1 year. But I want to stress that no gift is too small. All dollars count. And we're not asking for a certain dollar amount this year. We're asking for 100% participation. Whether it's 5, 10, 25, 50, 10,000, we'll accept it. So we really want to urge you to participate. We have just a couple minutes, and I believe Kate Sommerfeld is here from the Greater Toledo Community Foundation. You have a handout at your table, and she wants to give you a couple tips on a change in charitable giving for 2026.
Well, everybody's favorite topic, charitable tax law. First, where's Tim? So I followed Tim in his workplace giving in the role that he had a few years later, and now it's all coming back to me. So Community Foundation is thrilled to participate and to partner with Rotary. In the interest of time, I want to just give you a couple of really high-level changes that are happening in 2026. We all know that we have a new tax bill. As Dick mentioned, you have on your table a one-pager. 2025 may be one of the most important years to give to charity in a big way. So changes in the charitable deduction have changed in the new tax bill. There are some positive things in 2026, and we'll talk about that next year, but for 2025, we're really trying to help both nonprofits, donors, individuals, and corporations get the word out around the changes and the benefit to giving in 2025. So the first big change that we saw is the SALT deduction increased, so that was up to $40,000, and that's effective in 2025. That's a great thing. The second change, and this outlines for individual givers in 2026, so as you think about 2025 giving, is that there's an exclusion of 0.5% in your adjusted gross income from charitable gifts that you make. So this will go into effect in 2026. So 0.5% of your AGI is deducted or will be deducted in 2026 from the amount that you donate. So that's a really important change, and again, there's probably a lot of CPAs in the room to talk through about that. The second is if you're in the top tax bracket, we hope that you all are, there is now a floor, and so if you're in that 37% tax bracket, you'll actually only get a deduction for the 35% tax bracket. And so what that means and what we're seeing folks and encouraging individuals to do is to consider things like bundling. Think about working with your CPA or your professional wealth partners, giving more to charity to make sure that you get the full tax advantage. We want to do both good work for charity and to community. We also want to get the full tax deduction and benefit. And remember, the purpose of deductions and charitable tax benefits is that we can give to more charities like you saw on the stage today. So work with your advisors. There are some changes for C Corps as well that are outlined. So if you run a corporation, there's some changes there that we're going to see as well. Wanted to do just a quick PSA. We have a few team members, I think Ashley Yoakum and Taylor here. CPAs in the room. Can I get a hand? Who are my CPAs? We have to have CPAs. I see one hand, only one hand. All right, tall in the back. So go see your CPA team. Again, 2025 is a great year for individuals and for corporations. Get in now before the new tax laws go into effect in 2026. Thank you, Dick.
Great. Well, thank you again, everyone who presented today. Thank you, Past President Dick. We appreciate, Tim, your time. Also, Sandra, Janelle, and Tim, thank you for coming, and Kate for the update. We really appreciate your time and your help. Absolutely, I think everybody should be encouraged and think about giving. It's more about the 100% participation. I think that's really an important goal for our club. We appreciate all the speakers today. Next Monday is Doug Swiatek joins us to talk about the history of Toledo jazz. He's even bringing a few items to display, and maybe there'll be some live music also that we can enjoy. So we hope you join us next week for that presentation. There are also 2 committee meetings today. There's Community Services Committee in Summit A, and membership is meeting in Summit B. I also promised you that if you wanted to talk about grant guidelines and kind of what the committee work is with the grant procedures, we're happy to discuss that after the meeting. We'll do that over here in the corner of the room, so feel free to join us. And lastly, I hope that you will all join us on Saturday, if you can, for the Blade Holiday Parade. So we got out last year. It was great. We did a great showing. And this year we hope to do the same. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't thank past President Kevin also for his excellent moderating. We really appreciate it. Always great to put past President Kevin back to work. So I think the thing I've learned today is that I'm going to go and up my donation for Toledo Rotary, and I think you should do the same. So go out and unite some folks for good. Thanks.